Radical.
The owner of the Dallas Mavericks has a message for all the Mavericks fans. I'm not going to go over the whole message, but basically, he said to the fans that they have expectations, basically, and they're not happy with the start of the season. They have high expectations for the Mavericks, but the results aren't meeting those expectations for the season, so he is parting ways with Nico Harrison. Yeah, it's done. Nico is gone after 9 months. After the worst trade in NBA history, Nico Harrison is out of there. He is fired. Rightly fired, a lot of people would say. He said after the trade, which, believe it or not, if you didn't know about this trade, if you are not keeping up with it, 9 months ago, the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka, yeah, that Luka, to the LA Lakers of all places for Anthony Davis, a first-round draft pick, and some player. That's literally all they got for trading Luka. 5-time All-NBA Luka. Luka that got them, drugged that team to the finals. I'm not lying. He made it. He made it all the way. Was it the actual finals or Western Conference Finals? Anyway, it is one of the finals. One of the finals. I know that. Apologies for me not remembering. That's how forgetful, like a lot of the NBA. Like last year, it was the Pacers and the OKC Thunder. I mean, good teams. Not gonna lie, but I don't know. My apologies. I just kind of pay attention to several of the teams. Some of the teams I don't pay attention to. I should. But I think we're all guilty of that. If you follow a sport and you don't know all the details about every single team, even a lot of actual professional sports commentators, they don't pay attention to a lot of the teams. But Mavericks is one of the teams. Spurs, the Warriors, the Heat. There's certain teams, the Celtics. There's certain teams I pay a lot of attention to, because I think they're big players and they have possibilities of getting to the NBA Finals. Like I don't pay much attention to the New Orleans Pelicans, for instance, really. But could you blame me? But yeah, so Nico Harrison, if we're to believe it, was responsible for trading Luka in the middle of the night, calling up the Lakers, making a deal with them, not opening all the other teams to what would be a massive haul in draft picks for trading Luka. I think Mikal Bridges, he got like 3 or 4 first-round draft picks. That's the thing that makes you scratch your head about this whole situation is they called the Lakers. Nico called the Lakers. Some people are saying, like, well, he might be going to the Lakers. He got fired and he's going to go there because they owe him so much. They'll give him some kind of a job there. It makes no sense because you could have got 4, 5, 6 first-round draft picks and a player for Luka. We're talking about, again, 5-time All-NBA Luka in his prime. Arguably one of the top 3 players in the league right now. You're telling me you traded that guy for hobbled old street clothes fucking Anthony Davis? Even if Anthony Davis was incredibly healthy, that's still questionable. Still questionable. Even if you want your position to be bolted on defense, because they said some bullshit about defense wins championships and we want to, increase the defense. They're thinking as well, they already have Kyrie, but Kyrie's older now. And Kyrie is not on the level of Luka. So it made no sense from a trade perspective. It made no sense whatsoever, even if Anthony Davis, who is a great player, don't get me wrong, when he's healthy, he's not healthy. That's the problem is you traded a superstar, man. You traded a superstar in his prime for an old broke down Anthony Davis, who is more broken down than his age because he's just, what has he got now? He's got a calf strain now. He had a situation with a detached retina. The guy is like made out of glass. I hate it for him. Dude's made out of glass. So nobody makes that trade that has any lick of sense in them. or unless they're angling to get a job at the Lakers. It makes no sense. Or what I surmised was they made that trade because, well, they got the first round pick. They got Cooper Flag. And it was an inside deal with the actual NBA to get Luka to the Lakers because LeBron was getting older and he's going to retire, and they want the Lakers to be a central focus point for the league. In the same way, the Cowboys are a central focus point for the Cowboys are a point for the NFL. There's certain teams, it's very helpful for them to have star players. And there's no bigger star player other than, Nikola, really. He's not superstar. Like, who's the biggest star? Who's the most talented, biggest star right now, up and coming in the NBA? Other than maybe Victor, maybe Wemby, it's Luka. And Luka's a guy you can build around for the next 10 years on your team. But it got to be too much, and they had to fire Nico. Even if Nico, some people say, was the fall guy, the official reporting from, I think Shams, he's a big reporter on a lot of this NBA stuff, he had to sit down with Stephen A. Smith, and he said this was 100%, the decision was Nico. And then he went to management and basically explaining how they should trade Luka, that it was all him. I just don't believe it. I think he was the fall guy. I think they needed somebody to do it officially, but, they maybe they didn't want to pay Luka a big Supermax contract again. I don't know the situation. I just know that they did that. The NBA said, we're going to give you a number 1 draft pick, and that's what I think. I mean, but you can feel free to disagree with me if you want to. I just don't. The same guy, Nico, who's very stupid, who somehow botched Nike getting Steph Curry. Ironically, though, Steph Curry, just a side note, he is now signed with Nike, so things come full circle. He's no longer with Under Armour. But the guy that fucked up Nike actually getting, of all people, Steph Curry, it could be seen as he's also stupid enough to trade away Luka in the middle of the night, but I just don't buy that. So, other than that, it had to be done. Because you see, for the last 9 months, and especially here recently, even during the end of a close game with the Washington Wizards, when someone was at the free throw line, not on the Wizards, but on their own team, they didn't care about the game. The most important thing for the fans was firing Nico. That's what they wanted. And it's uncomfortable if you're Nico and you have Anthony Davis, who is out with a calf strain, who reportedly, I can't verify it, reportedly I've heard that he actually tried to rush back Anthony Davis early so they could actually start competing because they were in the bottom of the Western Conference. It's a lot of egg on your face if you trade for Anthony Davis because you want to win, right, quote, right now and in the future. Whoopsie, that guy's only played 14 games so far. He had an abdominal strain. Now he has a calf strain, has a detached retina. So they got to get all this fucking duct tape to put this man back together. And Nico wanted to rush him back. That could have been something that got him fired also. If they didn't go with the whole draft deal with the NBA, and let's say for sake of argument, he actually did do that, they could see that as a desperate attempt for him to try to keep his job. But when the fans are chanting fire Nico, that's what you got to do. You can't have every game start out with the fans looking at Nico and yelling that instead of defense, defense. They're just fire. That's such a bad look for your team. What also is a bad look is the owner was down there. He was sitting with a fan, an 18-year-old fan of the Mavericks, who had a Luka jersey, actually wearing a Lakers jersey. So some Dallas Maverick fans are going to the games and they're wearing Luka jerseys just because they love Luka so much. You don't understand how terrible this was for fans of the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, this would be the equivalent of the Chicago Bulls trading Jordan right before they get to winning the championships. The situation of before they even won anything, the Heat trading LeBron James. And I know he was originally with the Cavaliers. This would be like the Lakers trading Kobe freaking Bryant before winning a first championship. They were on the cusp. The Mavericks were close, man. Because they had this guy. They could have given him another Supermax. And you can't tell me in the next 10 years Luka doesn't win at least one championship. I think he at least gets one, possibly more. The guy is just that damn good. And at the time, during that game, that they were chanting "Fire Nico" near the end of a game where they ultimately lost to the Wizards, that team was 3-8. Guess what team was 8-3? The opposite of that, the LA Lakers. And in that same particular game, the first quarter, Luka, I think, scored 21 points in the first, not half, but quarter. Wound up having, I think, 48, 49 points for that game. So imagine this. You're watching this game, and you turn on your phone, and you open up an app, and then while you're at that game, you're watching Luka at the same time on the Lakers without LeBron James. I'll repeat that. Without LeBron James. He's doing incredibly good. He's just got Austin Reeves basically as his partner there. He don't have Kyrie Irving. He has Austin Reeves. And he's handling business with the Lakers. Imagine seeing that and then trying to believe the bullshit that Nico told you, which was, we're trying to win now and in the future. No, the Lakers, they're winning right now. And they will win in the future. So you might say, well, they got Cooper. They can rebuild. Well, then, okay, rebuild for the future. What are the next steps? They fired Nico. If they have any intelligence whatsoever, they would understand. They don't, I think, have a draft pick outside of the next one that they got for trading Luka for Anthony Davis. They don't have any draft picks until I think 2030, if I'm not mistaken. They have to rebuild. They got Cooper Flagg. He's, 18 years old? Is he actually just 18 years old? Okay, 18 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong. 18 years old. And then there's different timelines with Kyrie and Anthony Davis and Cooper. So whether you think that they got him legitimately, regardless of how you feel about Cooper Flagg, he's a good player. They could build around Cooper Flagg for the future. But there's no winning right now with Kyrie, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flagg, and Klay Thompson, who's he's meh. He's not the Warriors' prime Klay Thompson, okay? Also, Klay is pissed. He might want out because think about where you are if you're Klay. You got traded to a team with Kyrie Irving and Luka, thinking you would compete, right? That's what you thought. And now, instead of Luka, you got broke down fucking Anthony Davis. So, I mean, whether or not they care or not, or if they lose him, that's another element here. Or maybe they just need to clean house. Get rid of Klay, get rid of Anthony, get rid of Kyrie. Or maybe keep Kyrie, I suppose, maybe to tutor possibly Cooper, who his position's not a point guard. That didn't work out well, but maybe he could become their new point guard. I don't know. I think they have D'Angelo Russell, I believe, playing point guard. But if you're the Mavericks, what you need to do is just admit that you royally, royally screwed up and you have to rebuild. And you have to explain to the fans it's a process. I mean, you got Cooper Flagg, all right? So that's what you got out of this. You got Cooper Flagg. Trade away your good players, get younger players, and rebuild for the future. That's your only shot, man. It's your only shot. So you look at some other teams that have, I'm not going to say Cooper's on the level of Victor, but the Spurs right now, what is this, year 3 for Victor? Maybe year 2, I'm not sure, 2 or 3. And they're competing right now. Of course, Cooper Flagg is not fucking 7'4" and everything. But regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan listening to this right now, you know what has to be done. First, it was firing Nico. Then it was trading away players to get draft picks. Maybe that's not a good solution for the fans who want to go to their games and see competitive games. But, I mean, Kyrie's... Last thing I'll mention is there's an element here of Kyrie. Let's say you get Anthony Davis back. He's got a calf strain. They don't want to rush him back because they rushed back Durant for the finals. Kevin Durant got an Achilles tear. I think even recently in the Pacers game, they rushed back Tyrese Halliburton after a calf strain and Achilles tear. So could you imagine at this late stage in the game, if Anthony Davis gets an Achilles tear? That's his fucking career, man. With as broke down as he already is, if he gets an Achilles tear on top of that, No, he would come back just as basically as a role player, man. Um, and nobody wants to see that happen. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do here for the future, but they just got to do something because keeping. Yeah, sorry for that pause there. I was trying to think about the Kyrie part of it. Okay, the Kyrie part of it is he was asked about a return turntable, and he said there's no slated return date. He's basically telling you there he might not be back until 2026. He, I mean, so that's an element too. You don't know what's going on with Kyrie. So damn, I mean, no one would feel bad if the ownership just said, "Hey, we're just gonna rebuild." Because this is a perfect example. If you don't rebuild, guess what? You hold on to Kyrie longer. You hold on to Anthony Davis. They get a little bit older. Trade value goes down, and they're not going to have no trade value. And then you're fucked because you need draft picks. So you might be looking at the Mavericks not only losing Luka and being bad this year, but being bad for several years to come with no draft capital, no good players to trade away. So that's my advice to the Dallas Mavericks. Um,